Welcome back to another Vincent Master Bassist video. I told you I was going to start uploading on Tuesdays, and I'm going to keep that promise. This is the first of the new Legends of series on my channel. There are many legends in music, and each serve their respective role in the band. For bassists, there will be Legends of Low End. For guitarists, Legends of Legato. For drummers, Legends of Loud. And for vocalists, Legends of Lyrics. Judging by the title, you should know what this is. Legends of Low End, Mike Lepond. Now, before we get started, let me tell you some of what this series is about. First of all, when I say legend, I mean that their skill and influence is beyond that of the general populace, actually beyond that of most musicians. Mostly, this is an analysis of technique, history, and a little bit of philosophy. This is an opinionated piece, and my opinion will be featured heavily, although I want to hear your opinion too. That's what the comments section is for. And I drew a little smiley face in the script. Now, onwards. Let's start with some nice history, everybody's favorite subject in school. Mike Lepond is the second bassist to appear in our favorite progressive metal band as we know. Of course, I'm speaking of Symphony X. Yes, Symphony X. A fat mix of harmony, huge drum, jamming rhythms, and chromatic chaos. Anyway, Mike Lepond joined Symphony X in 1998 when he replaced bassist Thomas Miller after he left for a reason I couldn't actually find. The first album to feature Mike Lepond on bass was indeed 5, the New Mythology Suite, released in the year of our Lord 2000. In my opinion, this change in the lineup would have a drastic and long-lasting effect on Symphony X's heaviness, and especially their dynamics as a band. If you listen to their albums in order, you will start to notice the shift in the rhythm section as the bass becomes more drum-oriented. We will discuss why later when I'm talking about Lepond's technique and bass philosophy. You may be wondering how Lepond was so lucky as to get a spot in Symphony X. Well, Mr. Lepond met legendary guitarist Michael Romeo through a mutual friend, and the rest is history. He tried out for the band and happened to be in the right place at the right time. Let's go back even further. When Lepond first started playing bass, he had a Univox bass and some 150 watt amp that I also couldn't find. Yes, even the biggest of legends have humble origins to look back on. Mike Lepond actually took bass lessons for a year, but that was as much as I could find on his formal education. Also on his Wikipedia page, it mentions that he was influenced by many bassists, yet only puts Geddy Lee down on the influences, so I don't know what to think about that. Now, getting back more into the present, Mike Lepond launched his first solo album, Silent Assassins, on September 26, 2014. This album is perhaps more of a self-expression and appeal to what kind of music Mr. Lepond likes to create outside of progressive metal, as some of his solo work is more traditional and lyric heavy. Now moving on to technique. Mike Lepond is a very skilled bassist. I refuse to say talented, as from what I can gather, he worked hard to achieve his precise and powerful bass work. Saying someone is talented always seems to devalue the work someone put into the craft to get their skill level. Lepond's bass work typically locks in the rhythm of the drums with the melody of the guitar, which is what any sane bassist should do. In fact, a perfect example of this is Inferno, Unleash the Fire. Right as the drums come in, you can hear the shifting notes follow the kick and the snare while holding down the melodic roots of the lead guitar, but then he expertly shifts to follow the guitar as well. All three instruments join in a beautiful harmonic fusion. I can think of one more very good example of this fine bass work in Symphony X's discography, and that would be Paradise Lost, from the album Paradise Lost. First, you hear the bass slide along with the drum fill, and then as the rhythm officially starts, you can hear the same technique of shifting notes balancing back and forth on the wheel of the drums. Michael Romeo's beautiful playing at the center of it all, as Mike Lepond and Jason Rulo lift his melody to the heavens on a powerful combination of sound waves infused with the rhythm of the gods of metal. maybe I got carried away. But do you see what good bass work can do now? It's about playing with your team, your musical family, but back on track. Mike Lepond plays with his fingers, which is very admirable, as the melodies of Symphony X can be quite complex. But don't be fooled, Symphony X isn't the only band he participates in with difficult melodic bassline. Listen to Avalon from the new Mike Lepond Silent Assassins album, Whore of Babylon, and you'll see what I mean. It would be easy for a commoner to mistake this for beautiful guitar playing, but make no mistake, this is bass playing at its finest. Here's a list of notable bass lines that show off his technique. Okay, moving on to gear, which in my opinion is the most boring part of talking bass, but everyone seems to love for some reason. Mike Lepond typically uses a comparison Dillinger, I hope I'm saying that right, but it's basically a Jackson concert bass CMG. I've seen a picture of him holding one of those too, but I'm not sure if he played them or not. According to Wikipedia, on Paradise Lost, he used a Madison 8x12 cabinet and a Tech 21 RBI preamp. Now, I don't know what any of that preamp nonsense is, as I'm a simple man when it comes to bass, but I know it sounds great, and really, that's all that matters. Now live, I've seen Lepond use his Dillinger bass, but again, according to Wikipedia, he likes to break out the cheaper gear. Can you really blame him? An Ampeg B2R is all you really need live. Here we arrive at our last subject, the philosophy of a bassist. Now, most people don't even acknowledge the bassist's existence, but as Murderface once said, bass is the foundation of the band.
They're working as hard on stage as the other bandmates.
Bass is the foundation of the band!
Why don't you make like a bass guitar and be inaudible?
So we will be looking into the mind of a metal bassist today. I got these quotes from an interview on a website called Dead Rhetoric, and I will link the interview in the description so you can read it for yourself. Lepond's lyrics are no doubt influenced by myth and history, and when he was asked about that, he stated it was because he started watching the History Channel sometime in the 2000s, which inspired him to learn more about histories and explore foreign concepts. This is a direct quote from the interview. I realized these stories are so epic, they would go really great with heavy metal music. Thinking that way, I just started writing metal songs, and the lyrics were from mythology, history, and literature. It was the perfect blend. I can't help but think about Steve Harris when I read that, and that is a great thing. When asked about his approach to metal bass playing, he had quite a lot to say, and thank the master of the universe that someone said it, because we're all thinking it anyway. This is another direct quote. I think we are underappreciated in general. A big problem with heavy metal bass playing is on most records you can't even hear the bass. The guitar has a lot of low end in it, and it erases the bass. Continuing, he said, as far as stylistically, what I do is I really pay attention to the drums, a lot more than I used to. I used to pay more attention to the guitar. I like being more rhythmic. As I get older, it doesn't matter how fast you can play or the cool licks you can play. The only thing that matters is what you can play as a bass player that makes the song great. You have to take yourself out of it and make the song the main goal. Here's what I found most interesting. When asked if he could give his 20-year-old self some advice, Lepond said, "If I was going to give myself some advice, I would say that there are going to be a lot of people that tell you that you're never going to do anything in music. Just forget it. Get yourself a full-time job and live a normal life." But most of the people who tell you that, they never did anything in music, and that's why they're telling you that. I did something in music, and I was able to get where I wanted to go in music. So I'm going to tell you to keep going. Stay focused on what you want to do. And if you want to have a career in music, don't let anyone discourage you. There are going to be a lot of setbacks, but the more you stay in there, the less competition you'll have, and you'll get there. Those are powerful words indeed. And with all that, I'll leave you at the end of one of the first legends of Low End. Listen to some Symphony X. Listen to some Silent Assassins. Excellent bands. Please comment and subscribe. I will be making videos every Tuesday, just like I promised. And I can only get better. So let's grow the channel. Thank you for watching. Vincent, Master Bassist.